Hello, everyone. I hope everybody is fine. My name is Martin Camps. I'm a professor at the University of the Pacific in Stockton, California. I am very glad to be with you through this form of communication. I will start my presentation. The title of my paper is called Memes as a Cultural Software in the Context of the Fake Wall Between the US and Mexico. Memes function as digital graffiti in the streets of social media, a cultural electronic product that satirizes the current popular events and can be used to criticize those in power. The success of a meme is measured by its virality and the mutations that are reproduced like a germ or a part of the genetic trend of subculture societies. I am interested in analyzing these ekphrastic texts in the context of the construction of the wall between the US and Mexico. I examine popular memes in Mexico and the US from both sides of the border. I believe these political haikus work as an escape valve for the tensions generated in the culture wars that consume American politics. The border is an open wound, as Mexican writer Carlos Fuentes has said, that was opened after the War of 1847 and resulted in Mexico losing half of its territory. Currently, the wall functions as a political membrane barring the expelled citizens of the southern Mexico border from the economic benefits of the north. Memes help to expunge the gravity of a 2,000-mile concrete wall in a region that shares cultural traits, languages, and natural environment, a region that cannot be domesticated with symbolic monuments to hatred. Memes are rhetorical devices that convey absurd situations, as in recent popular meme that shows a colorful piñata on the edge of the border, a meme that infantilizes the state-funded project of a fence and sets in motion a discussion of the issues at hand, global economic disparities and human migrations. The term meme was coined by Richard Dawkins, a British evolutionary biologist, in 1976 in his book The Selfish Gene, as a unit of cultural transmission. He wrote, "We need a name for the new replicator, a noun which conveys the idea of a unit of cultural transmission or a unit of imitation." This is from The Selfish Gene. There are many popular memes that relate to different cultural trends, such as Leave Britney Alone, Gangnam Style, Situation Room, Advice Dogs, LOL Cats, Success Kid. But in this presentation, I will concentrate in the genre of border memes. I offer a cross-cultural study of border memes produced in Mexico and the United States about the mutual issue of the border wall that was raised during the 2016 American presidential campaign and continues to this day. The idea of the border wall entered the national imaginary is one of the major promises by the then candidate Donald Trump. The big, beautiful wall that Mexico will pay was also the trademark of his run for office, an idea that captures one of the greatest challenges of the 21st century, characterized by migrations from the global south to the global north. Donald Trump, in June 16, 2016, said as a campaign promise, "I will build a great wall and Mexico will pay for the wall." This incendiary remark was a rhetorical device to incite division and move an agenda that believes in protecting the country from the brown wave, as described by Samuel Huntington, a late Harvard political scientist. Huntington predicted that the Trump era and the rise of nativism to counteract the rise of Hispanic migration by saying there is no Americano dream. He was against the ideology of multiculturalism and described the fear of losing the white Anglo-Saxon composition of the country. The border involves ideas of migration, economy, apartheid, and gore capitalism, as defined by Tijuana intellectual Sajak Valencia, to describe the savage cruelty of biopolitical configurations of industrialized economies that decide who lives and dies along the two sides of the border. There is no question that border memes increased in popularity after Donald Trump's campaign and his eventual election to public office. Memes condense a political view of a subject with a photograph and a caption that shows the irony of a situation and satirizes a dogmatic view. In the case of border memes, they play with stereotypical perceptions of both sides of the border. For example, in a meme that shows a colorful, massive piñata at the border resembling a Trojan horse. The composition signals that inside, as a party favor, a group of Mexicans will be hiding and ready to disembark in the US. This meme plays with the idea of invasion and it can work polysemically for both sides of the political spectrum as it satirizes the piñata, a popular Mexican tradition in children's parties, and as a war strategy, downplaying um, an actual invasion from Mexico. The only, as you know, the only actual Latin American invasion to the US happened in 1916, led by Pancho Villa. But it also toys with the idea of the American fear of corruption or invasion of Anglo-Saxon culture as a puritanical idea of hygienic preservation of the homeland to keep out the barbarian invaders. Memes, colloquial capacities to turn sticky subjects into casual, humorous one-liners help to thaw contentious subjects and reaffirm political views. Moreover, the malleable capacity of memes to adapt to new political views and interpretations gives them a continuous viral dissemination into different readings, edits, remixes, mashups or variations of certain elements. Yet, the apparent humorous and innocent chiding critique of the meme does have an impact in steering political outcomes, as the recent American election has shown, as does the intense propaganda, aka digital warfare, engaged by Russian interest. In short, the creation of these memes, whether by foreign or domestic interest, functions as an instrument of division, dividing public opinion, and opposing democratic or liberal ideologies. Divide and Conquer works marvels for global political interest in the open waters of the internet, which allow for the free flow of information and viralization of memes, particularly ones that incite deep erosions of civility and play with stereotypes, racism, sexism, and the fear of the other. Joel Penny, in his book The Citizen Marketer, Promoting Political Opinion in the Social Media Age, studies modern communications uses of computational propaganda that shapes the public mind and can spread ideas, but also increase polarization, and that move beyond the pejorative categorization of slacktivism or clicktivism. He writes, I quote, "The citizen marketer charts the evolution of political participation in an age of mediatized politics, promotional, cultural, and viral circulation. Penne reevaluates the citizen level symbolic action that shapes the social world with new modes of political action that transcend from the 19th century forms of classic participative demonstrations. The current model of economies of attention require our circulation in social media and becoming our own marketers and rendering our personal information and likes for public knowledge and to the exploitation of the landlords of the internet platforms." Memes work as a mechanism of instant approval or rejection. For example, the like button on Facebook is a way to cast a ballot to a particular view of the world, and the share button turns contact into marching vehicles of propaganda, displaying banners of social change or social scorn to convince others and recruit new converts. Another meme shows the hyper-guard political division on the border with barbed wire and border patrol agents. To counterpoint, in another photo, we see the simple marking of the cobblestones that divide two European countries, showing that the US and Mexico border is a militarized border that does not take into consideration the cultures in this region or the combined multi-million-dollar economy that, if measured as a single region of US and Mexican states, is a larger zone than Western Europe, a territory with linguistic hybridization, sister cities such as El Paso and Ciudad Juarez that have interdependent economies, and a transborder cities that, if seen from a satellite perspective, conform a single cultural unit far away from other cities of cultural influence in their own respective countries. Facebook is indeed the main marketplace for new meme products. The like button become an instant voting machine to charge the likability of an idea, a photograph, a meme that then gains popularity and catches transmissible properties. A successful meme is a popular meme, one that has captured with humor the core of an idea. This is the graph that shows the increase of Donald Trump's border wall memes during his run for office. Limor Schiffman, in her book Memes in Digital Cultures, argues that we live in an era driven by hypermimetic logic, in which almost every major public event sprouts a stream of memes. In her definition, a meme is, I quote, a group of digital items sharing common characteristics of content, form, and or stance that were created with awareness of each other and were articulated, imitated, and or transformed via the internet by many users. Memes are distributed via social media through sites such as 4chan, Reddit, and Tumblr, where people use memes to simultaneously express both their uniqueness and their connectivity. In her chapter, May the Excessive Force Be With You, Meme as Political Participation, she posed that memes make a point and engage in three interwoven functions as forms of persuasion or political advocacy, as grassroots action, and as modes of expression and public discussion. Moreover, the meme DNA is coded with data from current news and repackages itself in new conceptual forms that work with repetition. It could be argued that Trump himself acts as a meme, repeating certain catchphrases but avoiding important disclaimers. For example, the Cato Institute has reported that Border Patrol agents in the field say that a wall will only stop migrants for a few minutes and will not actually deter them from crossing it. Uh, it will be just a bump in the desert, which means that a multi-billion dollar investment would be a crass waste of taxpayers' money. Memes works as a simplification, a mnemonic device of society. Memes that were generated in Mexico or in Spanish tend to criticize the Mexican president, then Enrique Peña Nieto, for inviting Trump when he was candidate and giving him the chance to appear as a head of state. The encounter backfired for the Mexican president as Trump, in the same day, in a political rally in Arizona, repeated the mantra of Mexico paying for the wall. In other memes, we see Trump saying, I will build a wall, and the Mexican president responding, I will select the construction company, in reference to a different corruption scandal that involved a $7 million house that a construction company, Higa Group, built for the former Mexican president in exchange for multi-million dollar government contracts. Memes, the deal, change that. This is the meme that I'm talking about. Means that deal with the border in Mexico also feature in the recurrent topic of El Chapo Guzman, a drug lord that escaped a Mexican federal prison by digging a mile-long tunnel to the embarrassment of Mexican authorities. Another meme relating to the topic of the drug trafficking war uses a still image from the movie World War C that shows a group of zombies climbing like ants over the wall in the Gaza Strip. And the meme comments that they would be Americans climbing into Mexico in search of the illegal drugs they cannot get if the actual border were shut down. In most of these memes, the border appears as an absurd mode of containing migration, as it does not address the core of the problem, which is the hemispheric divisions of North and South, or the tensions between the globals, locals, and mobiles, to use the classification of Harm Devlige in his book The Power of Place. Indeed, memes are a product of the globals who see the world as interconnected and linked, in opposition to the locals, to which the world is large and who they reside on the periphery, and mobiles, migrants who leave their countries in search of a better place. Other memes use partisan division to play with opposing views. I will show some of those examples. as in the following keys between the two leaders that shows Trump and former president from Mexico kissing. They use kissing for political purposes, such as the kiss from Marseille, where two women kiss in front of an anti-gay protest. Another example uses the landscape of the desert, the saguaros or cactus from the Sonoran Desert, where thousands of migrants die under the scorching temperatures, which sends a message with its branches. An important characteristic of memes used for political purposes is the freedom of anonymity, as Patrick Davison says in his article on the language of memes. I quote, "This freedom can have obvious personal benefits if the material one is generating, sharing, or collecting is transgressive. For those internet users who revel in the existence of racist, sexist, or otherwise offensive memes, a practice and system of anonymity protects them from regulation or punishment that peers or authorities might attempt to enact in response to such material." We can find an early pre-digital form of the meme in satire, um, from Satura, a medley of theme and tone. At the center of the meme are scornful ridicule and didactic presentation. The meme creator, just as the satirist, believes that change is possible, and their intent is to sway us to an ideal alternative. Satirists encourage our need for the stability of the truth by unmasking imposture, exposing fraudulence, shattering deceptive illusion, and shaking us from complacency and indifference. An example of two satirical definitions pertaining to the border come from Ambrose Bierce, who in his book The Devil's Dictionary defines boundary, I quote, "in political geography, an imaginary line between two nations separating the imaginary rights of one from the imaginary rights of the other." End of quote. And when he defines immigrant, he says, an unenlightened person who thinks one country is better than the other. Satire, as in these examples, work as in the case of Ambrose Bierce as a pedagogical tool to expose and lighten up hardened, opinionated concepts. The Mexican version of this would be the notion of the relajo, the teasing or joking. In some uh, internet memes are persuasion devices that use humor or satire to persuade others toward a political view. In the case of the genre of border wall memes, the political division between the US and Mexico becomes a symbol of for discussion of migration and the interrelation of the global South and North. A simple photograph with a caption can be a better mechanism to influence political views, but this works on both sides of the aisle to soften or to harden the promoters of nativism and xenophobia. Memes are the banners of a political campaign that can materialize with the click of a button. And if a meme is successful and becomes viral, the simple political exercise can have major repercussions in conforming a worldview. As in the preferred memes, humor can help to cope with the gravity of real migration policies that affect millions of lives, and they can aid in exposing the absurdity of uh, Donald Trump and the alt-right fantasia of constructing a planetary suburbia or national gated community instead of addressing the hemispheric disparities that condemn the global south to live in subhuman conditions while investing stratospheric sums of money on wars, money that could be used to end hunger and violence. And I will end with these memes that you can find in the internet, making fun of a salt bay used by Trump to build his wall, or the Chinese wall. And that's the end of my presentation. And I believe these are also the end of my 15 minutes of participation. I want to thank you everybody for listening to my presentation. And I hope you have a safe and productive conference. Thank you.